Hello and welcome back to Girl Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, you probably already recognize the face right here to my right, maybe your left. If you're listening, well, we have lifestyle blogger and fellow podcast host who moved to LA. Let's correct this. You're from Missouri.
Okay, I don't claim Missouri in the slightest.
Yes.
I was born in St. Louis, technically. A fact that is only on the internet because it's on my famous birthdays profile. I moved to Texas when I was 2. So, I don't know anything about, I'm from Texas. But I need them to switch that, you know?
But your place of birth was Missouri.
Technically. But I'm, so Texas obsessed. So, it's, not something I'm proud of, you know?
Okay, I got you. All right, so you moved, and you can just correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but you moved to just 17 years old.
Yeah.
You've really been taking us through and sharing your life from daily to weekly routines. Also serve as a guide for us for branding, relationships, mental health, and so much more on your own podcast. I love you so much with Kenzie Elizabeth. I think we'll back it up here a little bit too. We just met. So unlike a lot of podcasts where you have your friends on or someone that you've known for a while, we literally just met while I was in the bathroom doing my hair and she walked in. I was like, hi, I'm the one interviewing you. So we're actually getting to know each other on this podcast. Yep. So pretty fun. Listen back to an old episode of yours and I think, what was it called so that people can go and look for it? Is
it the Come Correct or Not At All one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was it with your friend Dom?
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys had basically done this thing where you shared a Google spreadsheet or something, a Google Doc. And you did all of your non-negotiables, was that right?
Yep.
Okay, and now, since then, that was what, I think a May episode of this year, you have gotten into a relationship.
Yeah.
So we're going to bridge the two here. And I'm curious of some of the things that you thought you were looking for and if that is what you have found in your boyfriend or if
no, he's exactly the list. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly the list. We made that episode. It happened really organically. We were sitting at Alfred before class one day. And I was just venting about stuff that was going on. And she's like, we're not dealing with any of this anymore. We're sitting down and she's like, we're making a list and that's it. Yep. And it kind of was it was just a funny thing to do at first.
Yeah, it is.
And then she was like, wait, this would be a good podcast episode. So I'm like, oh, 100% we're going to record this. And at the end of that episode, she actually was like, hey, I hate to break it to you, but your list is literally Quentin because we've been friends for a year before that.
Yes, you have.
And then my producer Taylor was like, yeah, I didn't want to say it either.
Well, but okay, that brings me to your list though, because one of your things was that you typically become really good friends with someone and you kind of friend zone this person.
Yeah.
And then you end up getting a little bit too close to them where those inevitable feelings start to form. But I couldn't tell in the episode if that was something you were trying not to do.
Okay, so I actually was talking about this the other day. Yes, we were friends before, but there was a difference between how I was doing that in the past and then my relationship with Quentin. The beginning when I was doing that in the past, that wasn't a good thing. What I meant by that is I would friend zone someone and then we would be too close to just be friends.
Okay.
So then I would end up seeing guys that I would never in my right mind ever date. Not against nothing against them. It's just that I know that's not what I want, but I would get myself emotionally involved, which is so stupid. So with Quentin, we were already friends, and he's everyone, every single person who knows him is he's the best person ever.
He seems great.
He's really great. So before when we had started hanging out, way before feelings even came, I mentally checked off the list and was okay, if this were to happen, it would be okay. Because I went in logically, I didn't go on emotionally.
Okay.
So I did switch it. We just were friends before. So it was very different, but it could probably come across as if it wasn't, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was confused, and like I said, getting to know you a little bit better here, but trying to piece the dates together here of when you said that to when did you guys become more than friends, boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever the label is?
When that episode went out, we were probably already hanging out a lot. And then I feel from April, we actually recorded an episode. Together, with friends of mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw a friend group one,
And then, honestly, from then on, we just hung out all the time. And so then, feelings developed. We were officially together in July.
Okay.
So
you guys are under a year.
Yeah.
It's kind of past that, I'm just gonna show you my best self, that honeymoon-ish phase, but it's still an exciting phase. Yeah. So would you say 4 months, does that feel like a long time? Does it not?
I think it, I don't know. Sometimes I'm wow, we've actually been dating for 4 months, but it kind of our relationship. One, we spent the entire summer together, so I feel that really expedited things because we were together so often, and then also we had the background of we had already known each other for over a year, so we weren't going on dates and like getting to know each other, like we already knew. Yeah, right. Like we kind of like went into it having already like known
enough about one another. Okay. We saw recently a video that you took him to hot Pilates, which makes me think, yeah, you are past that honeymoon phase, because ain't no girl taking their boyfriend to anything hot related. Hot yoga, hot Pilates. That's just not a pretty sight.
He'd been begging me to go to hot Pilates since I started in May. Like he had been asking to go for a long time. Most people, when I was like, oh my gosh, Quinton went to hot Pilates, they're like, oh Mike, he's such a good boyfriend. Like you like dragged him, like you made him go. And I'm like, I didn't make him go. He'd been begging me, and I'd been telling him absolutely not for months. And then finally, I was going on a Saturday, and like a friend couldn't go, and I didn't want to go alone or something. And I was like, oh, I'm so annoyed. Like I wish they can go. And he's like, I mean, I could go. So he went, and I was like, all right. But
do you have anything now then, again, with those like non-negotiables or anything on paper that you thought like had to be a certain way, and then maybe someone like Quinton coming into your life has made you see something a little bit different? Like, oh, he has that quality that I didn't even know existed in a person that he brought to the table or into my life.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm like so annoyed. I'm like, he's so perfect. There's a lot of things, but I think something that I always say that I didn't really, like, I think I did know that I wanted, but I didn't necessarily like put a word to it, but he's so consistent. Like he's the exact same person every single day with everyone that he is, like with every friendship that he has. He's not like all over the place and like you don't know what you're gonna get and you don't know how like you're like, he's just like stable.
Right.
And I feel like that's like an obvious thing that you should want in a person, but especially too like in LA, there's just a lot of opportunities and there's a lot of people who are like hopping from like priorities are just really different. And I feel like Quinton and I have the same priorities, so it's really helpful. But like with other people, it's like different opportunities or different this, or they want like this for show or whatever.
It seems as though in a lot of ways you're saying that you actually need to like love yourself and get to know yourself before you let anyone else in.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be a whole person. I think it's important for every aspect of your life, like not even relationally. Like even in work, like that's why you find so many problems with like hustle culture, because people find their identity in work. Yeah. Because they're not a whole person without it. So I think in every aspect of your life, like being a whole person is so important, especially in relationships, because that's the easiest one to kind of like, I think it's really important for you, but I think for like just the health of the relationship as a whole, like you can't really have a healthy relationship if you're not like your own person.
So, but let's just say that work went away. Okay, work as in the podcast, YouTube, all of that. I don't know, we're in a blackout. I don't know why it went away, but let's say it goes away. You're saying you have happiness without all of this, then, right?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Is that?
I feel like before, a few years ago, I wouldn't have, like, I kind of came to the point where I was like, okay, I actually don't know who I am because all I do is work. Right. So, like, I don't know who I am without it, to the point where I was like, I don't know what to film a video on because, like, I don't even know what my interests are besides, like, YouTube and work. I don't know. I think I'm so bored by people who only have to talk about work. I'm like, it's such a turnoff to me. I just don't like it at all. And I just have so many other interests now. Like even like Pilates is like a workout, but that's like almost like a hobby of mine now, like something that I love. I'm super into like health and wellness. Like my YouTube channel is just kind of an extension of like myself and my interest. It's not like I am a YouTuber, I understand that, but it's like I have a YouTube channel is a better way to describe it, because I'm not someone who's like,
you didn't pigeonhole yourself into like being a blank influencer. I mean, I guess we call it lifestyle, but I think what I love about lifestyle is that
you can do whatever you want.
Oh my God. You picked the right one.
Lifestyle is basically like whatever you're interested in at the time. It's the best thing ever.
When would you say that you had the moment looking back now and being like, wow, I don't necessarily know who I am, and maybe there are some things I actually need to figure out offline?
I don't know if there was just one moment. I think there was just like months and months, because at the time I was working from home and I was doing school from home. So I was just like full time at home, and I lived by myself. Like I had my own apartment. So it was like, okay.
Lonely.
Yeah. And it's like I had a lot of friends, but I didn't have like, I don't know how to describe it. Like I just was like, I'm not that happy. And also like all I wanted to do was what I was doing. So I was kind of afraid to like admit like that maybe I should change something, because I'm very like, I mean, I'm still stubborn, but I was like way more stubborn then. So I'm like, no, this is what I came out here to do. I say this in my podcast all the time, but I'm like, don't be married to your first idea, because it's smart, like I came out to LA to like do YouTube and all of that, but then I ended like where I ended up is not what, if you told me that this is what I would be doing when I moved out, I'd have been like, absolutely not. But that's like, I'm so much more fulfilled this way. And I think it just like wasn't fulfilling me, and I like kind of realize, and like I really believe it's like the relationships in your life and like the friendships in your family that like matter so much more. But I definitely didn't think that at the time, even if I wouldn't have admitted that and said, like, maybe I did think that, but like my actions weren't reflecting that.
Right. And it is this crazy idea, and it's mind-boggling at times when you think about it, because you are reaching so many people, but it can be a lonely experience in doing so, like behind the scenes. Sometimes it is what we're putting out there, but like oftentimes you got to close off part of your life, right? Yeah. Is there a part of your life that is, it's not really up for debate or negotiable or whatever? It's like that's got to stay over here.
I think like my relationship with Quentin, I think we actually just talked about this, and like I talked about this in a video. It's like, I would say like him as my boyfriend, he's in my vlogs, because if he wasn't, what would I, I mean, we're together all the time, so it would be like, what would I vlog? But our like relationship itself isn't necessarily like online. Like there's things of that, and like my friendships, it's like, yes, I think people are so, which I understand why people are like, I don't have my friendships, I don't have my relationship online. For me, I'm just like way too friend oriented to not do that, because we're just together so often. But like there is a healthy way to do that. So it's like there's certain things, I don't know, there's just like things that happen like completely off camera. Like the best parts of my like relationship and friendship are not on camera. Right. So it's like, yes, like obviously it's like, oh, this is my boyfriend, these are like my best friends, but like the intimacy of those relationships isn't really online. Well,
and I think there is a sticky area where people, and to each their own with everyone's channel, what they're doing, because people know like what works for them, as in what works for their audience, and also what works for them personally, and you got to balance the two out. I'm curious with you too, because a lot of people stay single on purpose, to be honest with you, because they feel as though they have the drive.
I was that person who was like, I'm not going to date anyone until I'm 30. I'm not getting married until I'm 30. I'm not doing any of that because I just want to work. But I think if you're like, this is very cheesy, but if you're with the right person, like they just motivate you more. It shouldn't ever be something that like holds you back. With that being said, I think like this is like the first relationship where I've really felt that way. Okay. But I think it's like people will be like, I'm not, like, I think a lot of the time it's kind of out of pride too. And like, at least for me, it was out of pride. I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. Like, I don't want someone, but I think that can be true if you're with someone who like holds you back, but I don't think you should be with them in the first place.
Did you go into this particular relationship, or even like friendship, whatever it is, like with that reservation kind of in the back of your head, or when it was right, did it just feel right and you didn't have to question anything?
I think both. Like there was part of me that was like, oh, I'm actually gonna like, if I date him, I'm like really gonna date him. It's not like, this is gonna be like another like Kenzie's like over it in 2 seconds kind of thing, you know? But I like recognize it. I also think there was just such an advantage with like having known him for the year before, and also like when I say everyone loves him, like I mean like he is the guy that everyone loves. So it was like everyone around me, like, you know, normally how people, like there's people in your life who are like, no, like there was not one person in any of our lives, and we have the same like lots of people around us, and like there was not one person who was like, every single person was like, this is amazing, genius idea.
And including yourself, because sometimes everyone can be fighting for the person and you're just not into that person. And you're like, I should be into that person, blah, 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 but I'm just not. So this one was one of the situations where everyone, including yourself, was very into it. So that's exciting. Okay. You also mentioned, I believe this was you versus Dom in that episode, but you said, okay, you want someone emotionally mature, someone to kind of balance you out. And then you said, not afraid of commitment and their own feelings. For the love of God. That was thrown in there. I'm quoting right now.
I get questions about this all the time, like girls messaging me, and like every single time I'm just like, move on, like don't date them. But it's the people, like they want the like benefits of dating you without actually like dating you. I don't even mean that like physically.
I know what you mean.
You know?
I think, okay, yes, I'm going to go on the other side of that though too, where it is difficult when you feel like you are, let's just call it like the talking, getting to know each other, dating stages, where you're not, maybe you aren't necessarily exclusive, right? Because it's maybe a little too soon. Yeah. But then you get to this weird thing where you feel as though you've got to break up with someone before you were even dating them. Yeah. Or you just get ghosted. It's like one of two extremes. So what's your take on that?
I mean, I think ghosting is just mean. Like,
it is mean.
I don't think you should ghost someone. Like if you are at a place where you're actually going to ghost someone, at that point where it would be considered ghosting, like you should have a conversation. Right. So I don't think ghosting is cool. I think it's just like, it's not a good look. It's not good. But yeah, I think, I know what you mean, right? It's like, okay, we're not gonna, whatever.
Because then they're like, well, whoa, I wasn't even like trying. And I'm like, I know. It just seems like a lose-lose scenario.
Yes, exactly.
In that sort of case.
But like, that's what I mean. I'm like, I don't want to be put in that position. It's like, if you're serious about me, like, you're serious about me.
You're not messing around. You're
yeah,
not here.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't be going into anything that you potentially didn't see working out. Is that a fair? Or that you...
Yeah, but like, I think it's kind of unfair. Like, obviously, I'm not going into like something and being like, you know what I'm saying?
It's not necessarily going to end on one knee sort of thing, but it's just that you're not dating someone just for the sake of dating someone. I guess maybe that's the way to put it. Do you feel as though you need to go through that time? Because a lot of people will say, like, date anyone, date everyone. Like, you have the rest of your life to be kind of with one person. Do you feel like that's something that everyone should experience or not necessarily? Okay, so I just now have an unpopular opinion in the past few months that I've made. So I have dated a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I've had boyfriends, right? And they were all great. Relationships are fine, whatever. But I actually am at the point where I'm like, all besides maybe one relationship, I'm like, I kind of, actually, and like that as a maybe, I still kind of am like, regret is not the right word. I don't actively regret any of these relationships, but I wish that I had not dated any of them because it didn't like, I don't know. I feel like, yes, you learn a lot, but I think you can learn what you like relationally through a lot of different types of relationships. I think you learn what you like in relationships and friendships as well. I personally just wish that I had not dated anyone before. Like, and I know that's like a really unpopular opinion, and I would have, like, 16-year-old me would have been like, shut up, whatever. Like, it's easier said than done now that, like, I'm 22 and, like, I've already done it. But, like, I look back now and I'm like, that was just added. Baggage is not the right word, but, like, whoever you are with, obviously, like, you learn through experience. So there's a lot of things, like, that I've had to work through with myself that pretty much all of the, like, things that were, like, bad or negative kind of rooted from those relationships. I see what you're saying.
I think I could have learned everything that I wanted and honestly been better and like less like jaded had I not dated those people. I actually don't think that you have to date around to know what you want.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course, I guess you could say, would you have known that you didn't want it if you didn't go through it?
I think the reason that I think this is because I'm also around a lot of couples who are like 10 years older than me, and I see their like relationships and marriages. And like the way that I even learned what I really wanted was by being around that and like seeing healthy relationships.
But you're really perceptive. That's the thing. You don't always have to learn
I'm not saying this would like work for everyone, but like for me personally, I could have done it without the relationship.
All right. Well, back to just really quickly, I want to get into your podcast. I Love You So Much with Kenzie Elizabeth. Everyone can go. It's everywhere on all podcasts where you stream podcasts. There it is. What can we see? You've been doing this since 2018? A little over a year. Okay. So now we're kind of going into 2020 here. What can we expect to kind of see on your podcast, hear on your podcast?
I have a lot of actually exciting guests right now that I'm like really pumped for. But I feel like a lot of it, I mean, obviously January is going to be like very health, wellness focused. I'm like so into that stuff and like routines, all of that. I have a lot of like really popular companies, like the CEOs and like creators of those coming on that I'm like really pumped for.
And these are some people that you've never met then, right?
Yeah, no, just a lot of people that I've never met. A lot of people I haven't met, but like like Sophia Rossi said this on my podcast. I freaking love her. She's literally the best person ever. I love her. But she was just like, I'm just convinced that there's just not one person that I couldn't get in contact with. Like, hey. And that's just how it is. Like, there's always, it's like we have a mutual friend or something. Yeah. So it's like, we've never met, but it's like, odds are we like know the same people.
It's all like relationships who you know. It really, really is small. Okay, so you're gonna have exciting guests coming up. Any topic? Are we just like growing with you in this type of podcast?
Yeah, I feel like there's not. Like I'm kind of bad at like niching down on things. Like that's smart, something though. But it is but like apparently if you like have a niche it's better for you. Well, that's so true, like whatever. I'm like I just want to do what like I want to do. I feel like once I graduate it'll probably be like post-grad stuff. Not that I'm like a traditional post-grad. I'm already doing what I'm going to be doing.
Right. Where can everyone keep up with you? What's your, not main platform, but I guess your Instagram handle?
YouTube would be my main.
Okay.
Everything's just Kenzie Elizabeth.
Kenzie Elizabeth. Yeah. It's easy. And then the podcast, once again, I Love You So Much with Kenzie Elizabeth. Well, Kenzie Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. If anyone has any further questions, please just comment them down below. We will do our best to get back to you. Leave a comment for Kenzie. I'll do my best to get back in touch with her and get it answered for you. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. All right, we will catch you all next Wednesday. Bye, guys.